Imagine if every step you take, every move you make, someone is watching you. Now realize that it's not just imagination, it's your reality on the internet. Each day, as you click, scroll, and type, you leave behind a digital footprint. This footprint, seemingly harmless, is a treasure trove of information to the countless data brokers lurking in the shadows of the web. From your favorite pizza topping to your political inclinations, they've got it all. The Cambridge Analytica scandal? Just the tip of the iceberg. The Equifax data breach. A stark reminder of the fragility of our digital identities. Hundreds of millions of people. Their personal information exposed. Their privacy violated. We live in a world where our data is the new currency, where privacy seems like a luxury rather than a right. The unsettling reality is that we are more transparent on the internet than we ever could be in person. The question stands, how can you reclaim your privacy? Even experts in the field are alarmed by the extent of data collection happening on the internet. Renowned privacy advocates and cybersecurity experts are increasingly raising their voices, expressing concern over the pervasive nature of data collection and the potential hazards it presents. Take, for instance, Elizabeth Adams, a privacy advocate and cybersecurity expert. She highlights that our personal data is not just about us, it's about our connections, our behaviors, our preferences. This data, when collected and analyzed, can reveal patterns that we may not even be aware of ourselves. In the wrong hands, this information can be used against us in ways we may not even foresee. Then there's Martin Green, a cybersecurity analyst known for his work in digital privacy. He underlines the fact that once our data is out there, it's virtually impossible to take it back. It's like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. Once it's out for good. And that, he says, is a risk we cannot afford to take. Professor Laura Hughes, a leading researcher in the field of internet privacy, adds another perspective. She points out that the issue is not just about the data that is being collected, but also about who is doing the collecting. Without robust privacy regulations, virtually anyone can amass a wealth of data on us, often without our explicit consent. And lastly, we have Jack Thompson, a privacy lawyer who emphasizes the legal aspects. He points out that while there are laws in place to protect our privacy, they're often not enough. Enforcement is inconsistent, and the penalties for breaches are often mild, providing little deterrence for those who would infringe upon our privacy. These experts' perspectives underscore the gravity of the situation. Our personal data, our digital identities, are at risk. The potential consequences, they suggest, range from identity theft to manipulation based on our personal preferences. But it's not all doom and gloom. As these experts suggest, it's time to take control of your digital footprint. Deleting your data from social media sites is a good place to start. It's the first step on the path to digital invisibility, a doorway to a world where your privacy is respected. Many of us are quite active on social media platforms, sharing our thoughts, our experiences, and sometimes more personal information than we should. This wealth of data is a goldmine for anyone who wants to know about us, so it's time to take back control. To start, visit each of your social media accounts. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, you name it. Most of these platforms have options to delete or deactivate your account. But here's the catch. Deleting an account doesn't necessarily mean that all your data is wiped clean from their servers. Some of it may linger hidden in the shadows of the digital world. That's why it's crucial to make a formal request for data deletion. This process may vary from site to site, but in general, you'll need to reach out to the site's customer support or privacy department, clearly stating your desire to have all your data deleted. Be prepared for some resistance. These companies thrive on data, and your request might not be their favorite thing to hear. But don't let that deter you. Stand your ground. Remember, it's your right to control your personal information. And while you're at it, take some time to read and understand the site's privacy policy. It's often overlooked, but it's the rulebook that dictates how your data is handled. It might be filled with legal jargon, but don't let that intimidate you. There are plenty of online resources to help you decipher it. This step might seem like a lot of work, but it's a vital part of the process. It's like clearing the undergrowth before planting a new garden. You're setting the stage for a cleaner, more private online presence. While it may seem tedious, it's an important step towards reclaiming your privacy. So, take that step. Embrace the journey. Because your privacy matters and it's time to take it back. But it's not just social media. Data brokers and online shopping sites are also major players in data collection. These entities compile and sell your personal information, often without your explicit consent. Now, let's delve into the process of requesting data deletion from these sources. Firstly, data brokers. These are companies that gather personal information about you from various sources and sell it to businesses and marketers. To remove yourself from their databases, you need to identify the brokers that have your data and then send them a removal request. This process can be laborious since there are hundreds of data brokers out there. However, it's a critical step in reclaiming your online privacy. Next, let's talk about online shopping sites. They are notorious for collecting and storing personal data. You've probably noticed how a product you casually browsed once haunts you across the web for days on end. This is due to the data these sites collect and share about your online behavior. To remove your data from these sites, visit the Privacy Settings or Account Settings page and look for the option to delete your data or account. If this option isn't readily available, you might have to reach out to their customer support. But remember, deletion isn't always enough. It's equally vital to be mindful of where and how you share your information online. Before signing up for a service or making a purchase, consider if it's a necessity. If it is, read the company's privacy policy to understand how they handle your data. Opt for services that respect your privacy and limit the personal information you provide. Finally, consider using a digital wallet for online transactions. They create a buffer between your bank account and the online retailer, protecting your financial information from potential data breaches. Remember, every bit of data you erase is a step towards a more private online existence. It's a journey that requires patience, diligence, and a commitment to privacy. But the peace of mind it brings is well worth the effort. Your emails and phone calls are not as private as you might think. Our digital footprints are not just left on social media or shopping sites. Our communications also leave trails that can be traced back to us. The good news? There are ways to secure your communications and make them less accessible to prying eyes. Let's start with your emails. Old email accounts are like digital fossils. They contain a wealth of information about your past. It's a good idea to delete those accounts you no longer use. Reach out to your email service provider and ask them to delete your account and all its associated data. Remember, this step requires caution as it may lead to loss of important information, so back up what you need before you hit delete. Next up, let's talk about VPNs, or virtual private networks. They are your personal invisibility cloaks on the internet. When you connect to a VPN, your internet traffic is encrypted and your IP address is masked, making your online activities difficult to track. It's like sending your data through a secure tunnel, hidden from the view of your internet service provider, government agencies, and cybercriminals. There are many reliable VPN services available, both free and paid. Choose one that best suits your needs and make sure to keep it switched on, especially when using public Wi-Fi. Finally, consider using burner phones for sensitive communications. These are inexpensive, prepaid mobile devices that can be used temporarily and then discarded. They provide a layer of anonymity because they're not linked to your personal information. They're not just for spies and criminals, but for anyone who values privacy. Remember, securing your communications is not about having something to hide. It's about protecting your information from being misused. It's about taking control of your digital footprint and deciding who gets access to your personal life. With these steps, your communications can become a fortress, not an open book. Maintaining your privacy online is an ongoing effort. It's a lot like playing a never-ending game of hide and seek with the entire digital world. So, how do you stay one step ahead? One way is by using private browsers. These browsers don't track your online movements, making it harder for others to monitor your activities. Another strategy is to be mindful of the information you share. Ask yourself, is it necessary to give out your real contact details every time you sign up for something online? Often, it's not. Finally, make a habit of regularly checking and updating your privacy settings on various platforms. Platforms update their policies often, and you might be sharing more than you think. Remember, in the digital world, your privacy is your power. Guard it well. It's not just about hiding from the world, it's about controlling what the world knows about you. And that, dear friends, is a power worth having.